David Giordano is the database manager for NC OneMap and for CGIA. He's been with CGIA since sometime in the last century.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. I too have a tendency to speak kind of loudly, so I don't even need this thing. So I'm David. As Jeff said, I've been with CGIA for close to 25 years. It's not quite 100. Brett Spivey is also here. Brett's the application developer for CGIA and NC OneMap, and he'll be finishing up here as I get started. I just wanted to piggyback on what Melanie said about erroneous data, and that is that we don't want to put anything that is not authoritative and not correct in quality out there. So to that effect, this is a bit of acronym soup down here. CGIA is currently in the Department of Information Technology in North Carolina, and we are in the Government Data Analytics Center. It's the chief data office for the state. So it's fitting that we're there, since NC OneMap is all about data, quality data, and so we want to continue that. I just want to say there are many more people here than I thought would be here for the afternoon session for bat and cleanup here. I appreciate you guys hanging around. An informal poll. There's nothing on the mobile app. How many people are familiar with the term NC OneMap? How many people use data and services from NC OneMap? How many people are comfortable with using data and services from NC OneMap? Okay. Well, that's a lot of you, and that's good because this is kind of about using data and services from NC OneMap. It's going to be a demo-free zone, and we're going to focus on focus on the data and the quality of the data as it relates to our new home within GDAC, the Chief Data Office. So, before we can see what the road ahead looks like and the overlap with GDAC, I think it's important to take a look back at where things began. There's only a few slides here, so it's not quite so miserable. Back at the dawn of the internet, I've termed this fend for yourself data discovery. So some of you may still do this. You go to a browser, Google, Bing, wherever, type something in that you're looking for, you get search results. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What you find may not be authoritative, may not be quality, but you're getting something. So if we fast forward to 2003, we'll see if these bring back any memories for you guys. AOL was prominent, dial-up, 24K, modems, all that good stuff. This may have been your cell phone. I think I had one like that back then. What? Lou still has one right here in the front row. Google, believe it or not, was only about 5 years old back in 2003. So they were still in their infancy. Finding Nemo was one of the more popular movies back then. Steve Bartman, if you guys are following Major League Baseball, Steve, the guy right there prolonged the agony of Cubs fans for another 13 years when he interfered with that foul ball. And NC OneMap came into existence as well. That's probably the least of these, but. So we knew that we wanted to get data out there. Is my time up? Or is that for me? Oh, okay. I'm still green. I have 20 minutes. So we knew we wanted to get data out on the internet for people to use and consume. So our first iteration of that was just an alphabetical list of data. You guys may remember this, you longtime users. A to Z, click the link, get the data. There was also a rather cumbersome looking and using web application, a map viewer. And there was also a separate app, website, to search and find discover, consume, utilize web services. So together, these things were kind of under the same umbrella. They were a bit disparate parts, but they served a purpose and they functioned for a number of years. At the same time, we knew that we could do better. So Brett and I and the NC OneMap team kind of knew what we wanted. And thanks to the strong GIS community in North Carolina, with your feedback and your desires and your needs, we formulated some things that we thought a more all-encompassing geoportal should contain. So it has to be faster than what we had before. You wanted to see the extents of the data that you were browsing before you actually had to download it. You wanted concise, readable, non-confusing metadata about the data that you were interested in. You wanted to see what the availability of web services. Were they up? Were they down? What are their percentages of being so? You wanted to find your data in multiple ways. Keyword search, browse for data. Some people still like the A to Z thing. We acknowledge that. And also be able to search geographically by a map. Has to be easy to use. You don't want anything too cumbersome as that old antiquated web viewer was, map viewer. You want it to be transparent, get it out there for people to use. Don't hold anything back. Be able to reuse it without restriction. That gets the most usage out of the data. Redistribute it if you like, as long as the metadata is with it. It's all documented so you know where it came from. And make it interoperable for different systems to be able to use. Well, this was about 2007. And we didn't know it at the time, but what we were really talking about, these last couple bullets here, was open data. Not Esri open data, just the term open data. And that's kind of where it is today and what those things mean for open data. So at a higher level, all of those needs and desires boil down to these bullets here. Doing all that stuff on the previous slide results in cost savings. The data is consistent, it's authoritative, comes from a single source that you know is going to be correct and accurate. It's easy to use. An application and the data are not difficult. Get it and go do what you need to do with it. It makes efficient use of staff resources. Brett and I are the only two that actually work on this day to day, so our time is valuable, and if it's something that we can do quickly and we know it's right, let's do it that way. And the ability to create more consistent products based off the data. These are all important, and you're going to see them again later on in subsequent slides. There's a lot of overlap there between these tenets and what GDAC is speaking about in terms of the data that they manage. Where things are now, or at least have they been where they have been since 2007. Like I said at the top, if you're expecting a demo, I hate to disappoint you. We're a little higher level than a demo. We're just talking about the data from a 90,000 foot view. But quickly, the GeoPortal today is the first stop shop for data. It's a website where you can perform a number of things, primarily data discovery, where you can search by keyword, like you were typing in the Google or Bing. You saw the stormtroopers doing that earlier. An A to Z list. Some people still wanted that. We kept it around. And searching geographically by map extent. Data access, GIS files, shapefiles, file geodatabases. Shapefile is pretty much the de facto interchange file. It can be imported into a lot of different systems and CADs. And web services, REST, WMS, web feature services, WFS, tiled services, and the like. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brett, and he's going to take it the rest of the way.
you guys hear me okay? Before I get started, I got to really say, I am astonished that you guys are still here, so thanks for hanging around. Last night, I did my best to bribe David out of having to do this part. But when I realized that my efforts were not going to have any effect, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you where we are up to today, and then you can take it the rest of the way. It reminded me, I said, hey, this isn't going to be so bad. This is like the forecast, the weatherman, right? The future. Nobody can read the future. The weatherman can't tell me if it's going to snow 2 weeks ago or not. So we're going to give you an idea of where it's going, but in terms of a specific course, we don't quite know that yet. So some of these themes, if you look down through here, I got to walk around. I've had too much coffee. If you see some of these, as you go down through the list here and look at these bullet points, you'll see a lot of these themes are reiterated from what John Corellis was talking about in the plenary yesterday. We're talking about being able to take data and spread it across the enterprise. And that sounds really fancy, but what are we really talking about? If we have data tucked away in some little division within a department, let's open that up, because there may be another group, either within state government or within the public sector or private sector, that could really leverage that data and get a lot of value out of that. So how do we bust that wall down and get that going? Having accessibility and standards and governance, all these types of things are themes that have been since the incarnation of this concept of NC OneMap. So again, the alignment is there within the data division within the state. And some of the guiding principles. So this pyramid, I think John showed yesterday, and it really does have a lot of value. 20 years ago, getting data or creating data, running that godforsaken digitizing puck they showed at lunch, was creating these data layers. I mean, we had to create it before we could use it. But I would suggest now, for a lot of these data sets, we're to a stage of maturation where, okay, we have it. That's great. It makes a pretty map. That's awesome. But we're beyond that now. Let's do something with it to where we can take that information and analyze it for something other than just analyzing's sake. Let's take that information and turn it into real, usable knowledge to where we can make decisions that have a real impact on whatever problem is we're trying to solve. John talks about, you catch a theme here, it's based on John, but he's got his 5 V's. And again, you can take the V's in this pie chart, and we're talking about volume of data, the variety of data, the velocity of data. Well, in plain English, what does that mean? Well, data's coming in so fast, right? Like some of John's data's coming in at DOT. I mean, you guys are dealing with that every day. I'm not dealing with 2,000 points. I'm dealing with 2.5 million points. And how do I get that into my data set and turn it back out for users to take advantage of? The veracity of data. And that's something that, in terms of NC OneMap, we have really striven to, make authoritative, make reliable, get that metadata in there so that when people read down through that, they go, okay, I can actually take this data and make a decision with it and not get burned for it after the fact. So you look through these 3 points of what I just talked about pretty much, which is quality of data, the metadata to tell you how good it is, and then providing it in a way to where people can actually use it. So I'm not giving it in one format to where only one software client can use it. I'm going to push it out, or we're going to push it out in every form that we possibly can. So it doesn't matter if you're a surveyor, a GIS technician using QGIS, or an Esri shop, or maybe you're not even any of that. Maybe you're a citizen programmer who wants to just hack together an application. We're going to give it to you in a web service that you can take advantage of. So, we've talked about a historical of where we are to today. We're looking forward, and how do we fit within the data division and the IT consolidation within the state? And how do we take advantage of other data producers or data stewards, as John said yesterday, so that I'm not spending $500,000 to create this data set while somebody else over here is doing pretty darn close to the same thing for an additional $300,000. Let's get together and talk and say, okay, let's do one product that might cost $600,000, and now not only can I use it, my partner over here can use it, and oh yeah, it has all these additional attributes and features that potential clients can use or customers can use as well. The data, creating of the data and using the data is still is of utmost importance, but it's an asset. And not only is it an asset, it's a strategic asset. So yes, we've created a lot of data, like I mentioned before. How can we either improve that data or identify, as we're trying to solve a problem, data gaps? And we can more easily say, okay, we have 8 of the 10, let's focus on getting the other 2. And then what I call the 3 C's, and I really latched onto this yesterday in the plenary, is it's really all about communication and collaboration, another buzzword, and community. And I really think everybody in this room should really be proud of the fact that we really are a community, not just of a GIS community, we use the technology, but a community where we actually talk and share and try to help each other, not just with data, but with actually providing solutions. And so one thing that we pride ourselves on, and you should too, with the development of NC OneMap, is that it is community driven. And having said that, do we know, David and I know exactly what the future of NC OneMap be or what the next incarnation of that is? No. And how will we find out or identify what that is? And the answer is it'll be from you. We want to hear from you, just like we want to hear from DOT and DEQ and everybody else that wants to have input, because local governments may produce the data, but data sets such as statewide parcels, orthoimagery, etc., that start spreading across agencies, departments, and customers in the private sector can only be as beneficial if we hear from you to get that feedback and develop it to make it easier and better. So having said that, I've got 18 minutes for questions for all of us, or I have an additional 50 slides we can go over. So it's your choice. It's 76 degrees outside, so does anybody have any questions for myself, David, or any of the other panelists? No one? Okay, look, seriously, we really do look for your feedback. You know, we try and push out. I'm coming to you. Hold on one second. We do try and get the word out. Either we do have a blog at nc1map.gov. We also have a RSS feed that's available from the GeoPortal, which is data.nc1map.gov. That's where you can get the most up-to-date and quickest information about data updates, resource updates, etc. But again, it's a two-way street. This is community-driven, so we need to hear from you. And here's our contact information up here. If you have a thought, a constructive criticism, or a suggestion, let us know. If there's a data resource that's missing, just like these other folks said within their departments, if there's something missing from this that you think the state might have in terms of a data resource, let us know. Because if we know that, we can start reaching out through GICC channels to find out if that data exists or potential for the development of it. Oh yeah, I forgot. Hold on, you were second. Go ahead. Can you speak up just a little bit? He can't hear.
Downloading LiDAR data, cities and counties, and hosting it together. So the question was whether or not the local community could download the data and then host it themselves. It's public data. So we provide this data to what is it called, the coastal something? It's run by NOAA. It's the Coastal Services and they host the data and they can download it. You can download the same data from them. You would need to talk to Hope Morgan about it. I mean, it's public data. It's free. So
I think there was one other question.
Right. So if you find any of those that you think are, oh, I'm sorry. The question was, DEQ has some old files that are out there that if you search on it, you can still find them. And some of them are hosted on NC OneMap, and some of them maybe in other locations. So the answer to that is, if you could send us an email, my contact information is on that website, and please let us know where those are, because there are a couple legacy pages out there that we have been working with our IT folks to get down, and we can't figure out why they're not coming down. So if you could let us know. Also, the layers that are on NC OneMap, we've had some turnover recently, and so some of those folks that have left were in charge of those data sets, and we don't really know that those were supposed to come down. So if you believe that they're out of date, feel free to ask. And we will definitely find the latest and greatest layers for you. And the layers that we're going to be pushing up, those are mostly user prioritized. So when we get feedback that people are looking for layers, we make sure that those are getting put to the top of the list for priority to get up on our open data page. So basically let us know, and we'll definitely try and do our best to correct the issue.
And just to add on to that real quick, so Melanie mentioned during her presentation that we were working together to try and directly tie in the data and services in their ArcGIS Online open data presence in the NC OneMap. So just a little context of where that might have come about is that to help DEQ out, CGIA actually was hosting the data for them. So that, well, those data sets will be removed over time as their ArcGIS Online open data synchronization comes in the OneMap. So hopefully that will catch some of those instances you're talking about. Oh.
Yes, we do. There's accident data within the GoNC portal as a service, but there's also data for traffic fatalities that you can download from NCDOT.
Anybody else? We did it. No, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 12 more minutes. Lock the doors.
Now, we really would like to hear from you to make our data easier to use, more accessible, more complete, better in some ways. And I want to thank the panelists, John Lay, John Farley, David Giordano, Melanie Williams, and Brett Spivey. And thank you so much. We'll be up here for another minute or two if you have something detailed you want to ask us, but I will. But thank you, folks, for attending. Thank our panelists. Yeah.